The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Friday in the Riv, and we have a whole bunch of marijuana stuff today.
And just for a heads up for our viewers for next Friday, this is the studio will be closed, so we will not be broadcasting. So we will remind you again on Wednesday, but next Friday the studio will be closed, so we will not be broadcasting.
And we have our first guest next Wednesday.
Yes, we do. On Wednesday, we will have our first guest, which is City Council candidate Colin Dias. He's the only candidate that's gotten back in touch with me and said, I'll appear. So I don't know what these other candidates are doing, but I've contacted all of them. And, you know, I honestly didn't expect the incumbents to contact me. I really didn't. So, but we'll have to see what happens. I think once one shows up, they'll all start showing up.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to try to do is get for the week after next. That would be the end of August, the beginning of September. The three mayoral candidates on the air, so they can present their position.
It's imperative. And guess what? If these, especially these unknown, and I understand, because obviously the betting is that these incumbents will get in, and the vacant seats will be filled by people with high name recognition or former incumbents. But shame on the candidates if they went through the trouble of getting their signatures, getting on the ballot, and they don't want to take as much exposure time as possible, especially in light of the fact that we give them
a whole half hour to get into detail on why they should be elected and get to know them in a much better light than a 1-minute sound bite and a 30-second response. And debates they're more theater than they are informative. Exactly.
And that's the reality.
And the funny thing is, I noticed a posting, was it this morning? No, yesterday. I noticed a posting which said that the mayor has invited the other two mayoral candidates to a debate, but there's been no response. Who's putting it on?
The mayor.
If the mayor's putting it on, nobody's going to want to go because it's a setup.
Yeah. They're going to have, he'll have all the questions.
And how many times did they say that the mayor would be set up on our show, and we never set him up? We never did. No. And because, we're very fair and balanced when it comes to these political campaigns.
Fair and balanced, our favorite word. Yeah, Roger Ailes. But, you're right. He was here, and we fundamentally let him go for 30 minutes. And unlike some of the other candidates, where we had to kind of ask a few questions to get a little bit more information, because they're not polished politicians. Well, the mayor started, and he never stopped for 30 minutes. That was it.
The time ran out, and he was still going.
And he was still going, and nobody tried to interrupt him or contradict him, and because that's what he was saying. And we can do fact-checking and discuss that, and have other candidates discuss it, and we can discuss it later. But we were true to our assertion that when they came on here, they would have the half an hour, especially if they got on only once the first half hour, to introduce themselves and basically go over their platforms. And obviously, if they say something that needs to be clarified, we'll ask for a clarification. But this to me is the best format in this area to be on, because you get the time you need to get to let the people get to know you, and also to answer in depth, not just a soundbite. Oh, are you in favor of mom? Yes. Are you in favor of apple pie? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna vote for him because he's in favor of mom and apple pie. Yeah. But how are we gonna buy the apple pie? Well, I don't know. It's kind of like the new Green Deal. We're gonna eliminate fossil fuel. We're gonna eliminate cows, eliminate planes, eliminate cars, eliminate everything. And it's going to cost trillions and trillions of dollars, and we don't know how to pay it or how you can do it, because I'm I'm waiting for the train to Australia. I don't know how long that's going to take, and it's going to be underwater. So I mean, you know, this is politics, bizarro world, because the politicians, they never stop throwing the bull crap. They want to eliminate cows, but they're full of bull crap. So.
Well, cows are responsible for global warming. You know?
Yes, yeah.
All the gas they put out.
Cow flatulence, yes.
Well, you know, the worst part about it is there's more hot air coming out of politicians.
That's right.
Than coming out of a cow.
Yeah. There's a lot of bull flatulence coming out of the mouths of politicians.
Oh, definitely.
But what we have here is Fall River Mayor likely sways council cap on recreational marijuana licenses. This article is mostly about Pam Laliberte, who changed her vote.
Because of the mayor's actions.
Yeah, it says, I think this is her quote. However, in light of the last 3 letters and the host agreements to friends and family members, it's pretty apparent that with what's happening and what's been happening all along, unquote. And then the next quote is, so I'll be changing my vote to yes tonight. So she voted for a cap. And look, you know, this is, again, another situation where this is, you know, much to do about nothing. Yeah, and Leo's got a point when he talks about when's it going to end. But you know something? Who cares? I mean, all they're interested in is getting fees and getting their friends these things. And as we said on a previous show, they're not all. It's like casinos. You know, they actually had to lay off employees at Twin Rivers in Lincoln because of the damage that the Encore is doing them, siphoning off customers from Twin Rivers, because Twin Rivers in Lincoln gets a lot of Boston people, because it's a lot closer than Foxwoods for people who live in Boston or on the North Shore. I know people from the North Shore who go down there. Now, of course, they're going to go to the Encore. It's a competitive business. When you only had one casino, they got all the customers. When you begin to get more, those customers, it's not like we're going to grow new gamblers. There's some kind of gambler farm or pot consumer farm. We have a finite number of consumers for pot, even though there's a lot, because there's only a few available right now. But when you open up, if you open up 150 pot shops in Fall River, they will be going out of business. That's the way of the economy. And that's what they don't understand. And that's why, you know, they're making a big deal, a political big deal out of this. But does anybody have a big deal with 700 convenience stores opening in Fall River? No, because they open up, 6 months later they're closed.
Right.
If they don't have the location, they don't have the clientele, they don't generate the business, they're gone. That, unlike government, when government never goes out of business, no matter how incompetent they are. This is capitalism. You open up, so, you know, maybe if these people want to pay the fees and friends and relatives, let everybody get in the business. Who cares? Guess what? There are a lot of them that are going to go out of business. It's like restaurants and any other type of private business. Let the chips fall where they may.
Well, you know, what's interesting is they're basing the ability to open up these stores, basing their sales on what this one dispensary in Fall River has.
Yeah.
Because they've always got lines out the door.
Yeah.
They must have 200-300 people a day waiting in line there. And I don't know, but I think they even ran out of product one day. So that tells you how much they're selling. But if you're basing it on that, guess what? Those people will be dispersed across the city when other dispensaries open. And remember, some of those people didn't come from Fall River. They came from Tiverton, they came from Somerset, they came from Swansea, and Somerset's opening a dispensary now.
Yeah.
So Somerset's going to have one, and Swansea's going to have one. So where are those people going to go? They're going to go in Somerset and Swansea. They're not going to come to Fall River. So the number of clients are going to slowly diminish, which means you're not going to be able to support 8 stores, 9 stores, 11 stores, 14 stores. And you're going to go bankrupt, especially some of these locations. I mean, the ones that Fernandez wants to open, the mayor's girlfriend's brother, all the way up on the Tiverton line, which might go over well, but it's not on a highly traveled road. It's on South Main Street all the way up at the Tiverton line. Not a lot of traffic there anymore. Really not a lot of traffic there anymore. There used to be a lot, not anymore. And the other one is on 2nd Street. Who the hell is going to go on 2nd Street to buy? There's no parking.
Maybe a couple of the hookers that hang out.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be walk-up clientele.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to look at this and really think, is this going to be worth it?
Yeah, and you're right, CJ. And, you know, as we've said, let's say, you know, there's one. You got a monopoly. It was just like Foxwoods. When Foxwoods opened,
They were the only game in town.
you could not get a parking place up there.
Right.
It was, and they've got a lot of parking. And that place was absolutely jammed 7 days a week.
24 hours a day.
Only game in town.
That's right.
Only game in town. Then when they opened up Mohegan Sun, you saw, now you go up there in a week, it's kind of empty. Now you go up there with Twin Rivers and Encore and it's the same thing.
MGM and all
Yeah,
of
and it's the same thing in AC when Philly got gambling.
Yep.
That's only 40 miles from AC. They used to get a lot of their clientele from the Philadelphia area. Now they all go to Philly. Tremendous drop-off. Because there are a lot of casinos that closed in AC. There are, you know, it's the same thing with the pot shops. That business is the only game in town. Let's say they're getting 10,000 customers a day, and which is an absurd. Maybe they do. I don't know. Looking at that line, but let's because it's nice, easy math.
Exactly.
We'll do easy math. They're getting 10,000 customers a day. They're going to open up 9 more. You got 10. So it's going to be 10 divided. So they're going to get 1,000 customers apiece if every one of them shared. There were going to be some that are going to get more because of the convenience of their location, as you said, because they're near where people live. So you're not going to drive from the south end, from the north end if there's one in between.
Right.
So, but the thing is, as you said, the businesses are going to begin to fail. And not only because of the fact that the customer base just isn't there, but the fact that this is not street pot. It's regulated. Before I came here today, and by the way, for anybody that wants to comment on the color of this bandage, I did not choose this. At
first, I thought it was the lighting. I wasn't going to say it.
Well, it was either this or pink at the emergency room.
Oh, I think pink
yesterday.
would have been better for you.
Yeah, well, but I cut myself, got 7 stitches, and this is the bandage they put on it. So don't, no, I wouldn't. This is not the color of choice for me. I would have, but it was this or pink. So I had to opt for lime green here, at fluorescent lime green. So before anybody says, you know, what is he doing? You know, I'm not trying to be Michael Jackson with a half a glove or something, but you know, we talked about this. But as I said, before I left the house this morning, I saw on the news a marijuana owner, a marijuana dispensary owner, complaining, not from this area either, I think it was from the greater Boston area, complaining about they're trying to regulate them out of business because this is Massachusetts. And they said that now the Cannabis Commission is going to require body cams. They want to try to require body cams on marijuana delivery. So I guess some of these places are authorized to deliver.
Not yet. That's one of the
Yeah,
things
but they're talking about
Right.
delivery. But now they want the delivery people to have body cams, and also they're thinking about requiring not one delivery person, but have 2 delivery people to fundamentally, I guess, protect the other one. I don't know. Maybe they'll require them to have, you know, to have arms or something, I don't know. But they're regulating, and the guy was complaining. They're saying they're trying to regulate us out of business. They keep increasing the cost of doing business in Massachusetts. And we already know that there are a lot of people that still buy their marijuana on the street because it's a hell of a lot cheaper and more potent. So, you know, this is political grandstanding before an election, much to do about nothing, and never do they ever address the real problems in Fall River. Are we addressing the fact that we're always at the top of the unemployment and at the bottom of employed people? Because that's what really stimulates an economy, people working. Is anybody ever talking about training programs and ways to get it, stopping the influx of people who don't work in Fall River? You know, all a real problem. It's kind of like the federal government. All they do is talk about partisan politics and try to get themselves elected and get the other party out of office, and the hell with the high cost of drugs, the hell with the high cost of health care, the hell with everything except politics. And that's what really makes me angry, and that's what disturbs me about the fact that they should be beating down the door to come on here and try to get themselves elected, but there seems to be a malaise in this city, and it's too bad. So.
Well, all you have to do is look at the fact that they couldn't even get enough candidates for the city council race for a primary.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get enough for the school committee race for a primary. And the only reason why they have a primary for the mayoral race is because there's 3 candidates. That wasn't hard to meet.
Oh, yeah. And look, remember a few years ago we had like 30-some candidates for city council?
Right.
And I don't know, we had 6 for mayor or something like that, 5 or 6 for mayor. But I guess people are, you know, they are giving up. They're just saying, look, this city is just beyond help. And that's a sad commentary on the city, because people basically have said, listen, this is a lost cause. Maybe if this city changes direction and we get a different mayor and who changes the direction, maybe more people will become re-engaged. Hopefully that will be the platform of both mayoral candidates. I have to see a distinct difference in their platforms and where they're going to take this city to consider voting for them, because it's obvious that this city is not going in the right direction. Nothing's getting fixed. The rich are getting richer. The well-connected are getting richer. And the taxpayer in the city of Fall River is getting bludgeoned to death.
Tell me about it.
That's the reality.
I had a terrible weekend. Tell me about it.
Oh, I know. Plus, you got your water bill.
That's what I'm saying.
That's right, which was one of...
You know, when you've got an air conditioner that blows up on you, a tenant's oven that's not working, and then you get the water bill, you just say, I give up.
Hey, listen, I had a good weekend by comparison, a good day compared to you. I only cut my hand, that's all. So,
at least you still have a hand.
That's right, and I didn't hit any tendons, which was very good. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But, so then we go to the next one, public hearing set for marijuana, set for marijuana dispensaries proposed by brother of Fall River's mayor's girlfriend. This is like being in the old country when they introduce people by their family ties, you know. And it's like, now this has become the new headline. Fall River mayor's girlfriend, Fall River mayor's girlfriend's brother, Fall River father. Yeah, it's like, so apparently this individual, I don't know what's his name here? Pedro Fernandez.
Also sometimes goes by Peter.
Public informational hearing has been scheduled for the proposed request matter.
He's required to do it under the Cannabis Control Commission rules.
Yeah.
He has to have that first. And at that meeting, he's supposed to talk about what his plan is for the dispensaries, what effect they'll have on the neighborhoods, what he'll do to offset those effects, what he plans to do for security, what he plans to do to, prevent problems.
And if you read this article, it brings up a few very valid points. Even though they may be, they may be half-truths and they be couched, but there is a point here. And these are the two separate things about this. Councilor Laliberte had described the mayor's actions as, quote, totally inappropriate, unquote, and Councilor Sean Kadim described it as, quote, corruption at its best, unquote. Correa has defended his decision, saying it would have been a, quote, disadvantage, quote, to finance to outright deny the mayor. And he has a point. If he is a citizen and qualified to open up a business, because he happens to have he's the brother of his girlfriend. The problem is, as we always talk about on this show, it's about perception. Even the perception of inappropriateness it calls it into question. So, the mayor does have a point. It would be discriminatory, and we talked about the discrimination of not allowing someone who holds a city position for public office and then demanding that he resign his full-time job. And this too, I mean, look, the guy's, he's entitled to it. I mean, it would have been better if he was encouraged to open up a marijuana dispensary in Swansea or Somerset, where his sister's boyfriend was not the chief executive officer. And there's where I think lies the perception issue, because people will say, well, he's only doing this in Fall River because he's going to get preferential treatment. But that is still an assumption. You can allege he'll get that, but you can't prove it. And if you do prove it, then they're both in trouble. So this is an interesting situation. And as I said, to me, and it's my opinion, this is much to do about nothing, because I don't care if he opens up 27 dispensaries. 25 of them will probably be going out of business within a year. So that's just,
But as you said, it's all about the perception and about how people think this is. And again, many people believe that it is corruption. Many people believe that this whole marijuana thing with these letters of non-opposition is all corrupt, because they've seen too many of these marijuana-based companies, their individuals, that their officers, their CEOs, their presidents, donate too much money to the mayor. They donated money to his legal defense fund, they donated money to his political campaign, and it was amazing how the donation goes in and the letter comes out. You know what I'm saying?
No, and you're 100% right, CJ. I mean, that's exactly right. And all the signs are there, but can you definitively prove it?
No, that's the problem.
And if you can, then it becomes public corruption, and they handcuff you and take you away.
Well, they've already done that to him.
But for
not
his
for public corruption.
Yeah, exactly. But let's look at this, though. And like I said, we try to be objective. We try to look at the whole picture. We try to see the forest rather than the tree. As we said with the mayor going down in the finance, that was about finance. It wasn't about his premier project or one of his, the crowns in his, one of the jewels in his crown, or whatever the euphemism he used. But let's face it, this is the problem with the country. We elect these people and they're monarchs, and look, do rich people get preferential treatment in a court system? Absolutely. They dropped the charges against Smollett, didn't they? Oh, there's a big investigation now, only because he claimed a hate crime. And they're still trying to suppress this because of money. Did rich people get their kids in college and pay people to take the SATs and bribe people to say their kids were going to play sports that they never played? Do rich people get different treatment? Absolutely. If you can afford a fancy lawyer, you got a hell of a lot better chance than some poor guy who gets busted for some minor crime and has to go to a public defender that's 3 days out of law school. Just passed the bar like 14 hours ago, and he's taking you and he's going into court to defend you. Did you ever see that movie? And it's on again. It's an older movie, and it's based on a true story. I think it starred Kevin Bacon. I think it's on Showtime. It showed on Showtime again. Murder in the First. I don't know. No, it's something. It's an actual story. No, it's actually not even murder, I don't think. It's a true story about some really poor kid who was very undereducated. He got busted for a relatively small crime, got caught up in a system, and ended up getting life in prison in Alcatraz. And the story is about a lawyer that went and tried to get him released after he'd been in jail for like 30 years in Alcatraz from the time he was 16. And by that time, he was totally gone. He'd been raped 1,000,000 times. He was all screwed up and everything else. But it's a tragic story, but it shows how convoluted the system is. Because, you know, if you're poor and you get, you know, you steal a loaf of bread, you might get 25 years down in Alabama. But if you're rich, you can steal the whole store and nothing will happen to you. And you know, this is one of the problems we have with our country, and we talk about, you know, discrimination, and it's a sad commentary. But you know, the thing is, the reality is, we are not all equal in this country. As much as people would like to tell you that, that is a pipe dream. So, but we got what? Couple of minutes, CJ?
Yeah, you got about 2 minutes left.
All right, I got to get into my friend Rashid Tlaib.
Oh, I love the fact that Israel won't let her.
Oh, they said they'd let her in to visit her grandmother. And this is her tweet or text, or I don't know what these when I won, it gave the Palestinian people hope, and someone will finally speak the truth about the inhumane condition. I can't allow the state of Israel to take away that light by humiliating me and use my love for my city. I guess it's Sittu. I guess he's pretty close if he's Palestinian. That's grandmother. It's abbreviation for Sittu. Okay. To bow down to their oppressive and racist policies. Here we go. Oppressive and racist. They can call Israel evil, and you know, I don't see the Palestinians. They have their own area. They're not happy because they can't have their nation back, and that's another issue. I'm not even going to deal with that. But the reality is, you got Tlaib and you got Omar calling these people racists, and they're the most racist people because they condemn an entire damn race.
Right.
An entire nation, an entire religion.
Right.
Just like, and then they complain that they're discriminated against because of their religion. This again gets back into the double standard that we have, because everybody else is a racist, an oppressive racist, and they can do exactly what they do. As we said, just like those liberals that were saying they should stab what's his name in the face or the heart when they were outside his house while he was nursing his shoulder back. And then look in Philly. They're in there trying to get a guy with a 22-page rap sheet, and they got some of the population attacking police officers
Right.
who are considered racist, oppressive thugs. They're in there trying to make sure that they're not killed by this guy that had all kinds of weaponry with a 22-page rap sheet, who some liberal judge, why he's walking on the streets, nobody knows. 22-page rap sheet, and one of them was illegal gun possessions. And what are the liberals talking about? Background checks. There's no way this guy could have got a gun legally because he'd already been charged and convicted of illegal gun possession. So it's nice to have a double standard, and shame on them.
Well, you know, double standards are what we live on in politics. You know that.
That's it.
And that's the sad part about it. Well, everyone, have a great weekend. It's supposed to be a nice weekend. Well, tomorrow's supposed to rain, I think. But have a great weekend. Enjoy yourself. And remember, stay angry.
Yep. See you on Monday.